and Greg and Richard right here on Talking Red.
Hello there and welcome to Talking Reds, a Nottingham Forest podcast, hosted by myself, Greg Oram, and fellow Forest fan from across the Atlantic, Richard Spray.
He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy. A very naughty boy. A very naughty boy.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. If I push it any harder, the whole thing will blow.
Till we finally struck Bonanza. One in a rope and a half flow. We planted our family tree.
I'm fine. In London.
Pivot!
I know!
Richard Spray, how are you, sir?
Oh man, they're all good, but that might be the best one yet. It's like we talk about Nuno's masterclass in terms of all the variations of formations. How about that? How about Greg's masterclass variations of Richard's intros? That was incredible, man. Well done.
I'm trying to be creative. I'm trying,
you are for sure.
It's
Amazing.
It's the different thing that I bring, Okay, right. We'll do some more of that in a bit, I'm sure, because it's now Friday, the 7th of February. And the fourth round of the FA Cup gets underway tonight with one match in the competition between Man United and Leicester. Meanwhile, the Nottingham Forest squad are still in Dubai, enjoying quite a week from what we've seen on the club's official social media accounts and, of course, on our Ironers regular video updates. And it seems they can now enjoy a little more relaxation time as they don't kick off in the final fixture in this round against Exeter City until 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. In many respects, this could be viewed as a mid-season mini break and well-deserved with what has been a terrific season all round and a wonderful result, 7-0, in case you needed reminding, against Brighton last time out. Coming up, we'll preview the Exeter Cup match, get the panel's view on Forest's transfer window and wider club news, and later on there'll be a bit of a Forest quiz as the team go head-to-head on their tricky tree knowledge. With Richard and I, we have the Statman Danscape and Raf, the random force ghost.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I'm a Statman.
I'm not afraid.
You will be. You will be.
Introducing the boys in style today. How are we doing, guys? Danscape.
How can we not love that? How can we not love that? That is epic.
Yeah,
that's one of my favourite ones, actually.
That is a
kind
beauty.
of adapted that a bit later, last minute. It was a bit more Star Warsy. I thought, we can put a little bit of Statman in there, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think it's
Mash up everybody wanted.
The mash up everybody wanted. It was not Star Wars. It's Scat Wars. There we go. Right. Okay. 5 minutes in, we haven't even about it yet. Don't forget, if you're watching along, get involved in the comments. We want to know you're here and all that kind of stuff. If you're tuning in later on Apple or Spotify, as usual, we thank you for joining us. Quick shout out to Martin, who's with us. Hey, Martin. Anna Houston's with us. Hey, Anna. And Steph is also with us. Good morning. Happy Friday, she says, indeed. If you would like to help us along by liking and subscribing, would be very, very grateful.
Please do go ahead and hit like and subscribe to be sure not to miss any future episodes from Talking Reds.
Richard and I were blessed and fortunate enough to sit down and record an episode with Warriors United. We had Helen, who is one of the main organisers and original ideas person behind Warriors, and we had Joseph with us as well. And what absolute joy it was to have Joseph with us. So that episode is out and it's being watched, and we hope that you will check it out. And I think it was actually after we came offline that Richard and I were speaking to Joseph about the Brighton game, because we recorded it before the Brighton match, and we said to Joseph, what's the score going to be? And in real Joseph fashion, he said it's going to be 10-0. And we were like, well, it's never going to be 10-0. It's never going to be anywhere near that. But of course, he wasn't far wrong, was he? And so we were delighted to get this extra little video clip get sent through to us. Here's Joseph post Brighton.
What was your prediction? They were going to get
10-0. I thought they were going to get 10-0, but they turned out to get 7-0. And oh boy, I just loved every bit of the game. So excited, full of joy with my cousins. With my two cousins here supporting them with me on my side. It's epic and fantastic. Oh, I just loved it. Oh,
what can we sing? What can we sing?
Sweet Caroline, did I never sing so good? Sweet Caroline, never been so good.
That boy has got some moves. I love this little hip shake at the end. It's absolutely brilliant. Amazing, Joseph. Just lights up your world as all the Warriors do. And Helen's son Matt actually got caught on the package after the Brighton game. Matt was in the crowd dancing after the 7-0. Let's have a quick look at Matt. Just a quick snap of Matt there with his red and white hat on, swaying from side to side. Helen might be saying Matt is a non-verbal, autistic, Down syndrome individual who, loves his football, and to see him so happy and joyful, dancing away like that is just really, really a privilege, actually. So please do go and check out the one with Warriors. We've loved recording that. And we're going to have them hopefully back on again in the future. And we'll keep you updated with all Warriors news as we go along. Guys, I wanted to have a quick chat with you before we get into the Exeter game about a couple of things. Transfer deadline day came and went, and we talked about all of that stuff on Monday. And in the end, there was no real signings. Richards, we signed Tyler Binden, the New Zealand 20-year-old from Reading, gone back on loan to them. And then late on, we signed Joel Ndala, who looks like he's joined the Forest Academy. Whether or not he gets first team minutes or not remains to be seen. But he's someone that has been spoken about in recent times as being a big prospect. What did you make of Forest window in the end? Were you happy that no real player was brought in to add to the current squad?
Yeah, because, a portion of the profile was done and dusted, which was the young, talented player that you want to bring in for the future. I know Raf talked quite a bit about that as it related to striker. We didn't get the striker, but we got a very talented center back or centre back from New Zealand. Just playing off Dan's brilliant tweet there. We got a talented center back, which of course we know depth's going to be challenged if Murillo leaves. So having that kind of player, he's a tall player too, which is great, agile, athletic, good on the ball. Then we've got another guy who was very much lauded coming out of Man City's academy, right? And he's played, I think, for the England under 21s, if I'm not mistaken. And so he's looked the part. Under 19, but he kind of languished it. I think it was with Where did he end up? Raf, was it? I know it was in the Eredivisie, but was it? I'm trying to remember what team it was. PSV, yeah. So he kind of didn't really do much there, but you can see on the film there's he explodes off the video. He's got immense talent, pace, good on the ball, all those things. So it's just really planning for the future in terms of being able to strengthen depth. And so we'll see how much what the plan is for those guys. But I'm assuming too, we're looking more towards the striker position in the summer. There's now supposed links to Mateta, who's having struggles with contract negotiations with Palace. So I think that's the time to spend the money, because we just don't know what's going to happen in the summer window in terms of some of the bigger players in our squad. Are they going to stay or are they going to leave? I would assume they'll stay, and it's good just not to disrupt the chemistry right now, not impact that in any way, shape, or form. So,
you're on mute.
Raf, you want to have a quick chat about Tyler Bindon?
Oh, yeah, and I know there are the pitfalls of like a YouTube compilation video and everything else as well, but there is limited amounts of what we can see from Tyler. But there are a few key things. One is he's played, and by the way, thank you very much to Forest Focus and Matt, who got Jason on from New Zealand media, who really gave us a complete lowdown factually about Tyler. But again, as a 20-year-old that has played more minutes than anyone else in Europe, I think, as a 20-year-old, I think he's played every game. I think he's only missed 13 minutes or something crazy. He was even given the captaincy for an FA Cup game at the age of 20. Everyone knows in League One, he's far too good for League One, right? And so he's evidently got a huge ceiling. But it's interesting why we put a picture of him next to Murillo is if you look at Tyler's videos, he loves a slide tackle. He loves a slide block. He is clearing balls off the line, throwing his body in there. He is driving out from defence, carrying the ball at speed and with purpose. And he might have not the long raking passes, but he's got decent mid-range passing. And who does that sound like? Like this is really the most obvious succession planning I think I've seen in a long time of he is Murillo's replacement. From a playing style and what he's got. So I expect it's a bit annoying he didn't go to the Championship now for 6 months, but I think that's probably the deal with Reading and they're very grateful for it. And that's why we got him the pittance effectively. But next season, he'll probably go to Championship for 6 months. If he's smashing that, we probably bring him back in January and try and integrate him into the first team or give him a full year. A lot might depend on if Murillo sticks or twists or who in our back line goes or stays as to how quickly he gets integrated. But genuine excitement. And there are more and more pundits that are coming online, if you now look on social media, that are saying he is a true gem of the future.
Sounds good. He ticks a lot of boxes and it seems like we're succession planning, as you say, nice and early. Dan, a quick word on Joel Ndala from your point of view. Do you see him maybe getting any first team minutes this side of the summer?
I think it's unlikely, but maybe just depends obviously on the fitness of Hudson-Odoi. We're still not entirely sure whether he's coming straight back in. And then if you pick up another injury, he might find himself on the bench. I mean, what he's bringing is one of the transfer episodes we said just needs some pace on the bench. And he's certainly got that. But what I'm not sure, and nobody's probably sure what he's got, is the ability to play within the team as a team player that knows his role, knows his job, can keep hold of the ball in those difficult situations and all that. We don't know about that, and that's because he's a young player that hasn't played at that level. So I think it'll be, we'll be struggling injury wise if he's going to get minutes this season. I think we've brought him in because he's a raw, a gem that we're trying to polish up and over a few years in the academy and bring into the first team and make him into an Elanga or a Hudson-Odoi if we can.
I mean, from Ndala's point of view, I mean, how is that going to sit with him, I'm thinking, because he effectively could have stayed and gone through the Man City Academy and done for them what we want him to do for us. He's gone out to PSV and albeit played in their B side in Eredivisie B, I think, or something like that. So he's gone out to try and get more sort of first team level-ish minutes. And yet he's come to us on the promise of going into the academy and playing B team football. So I just wonder how that sits with him. What is his progression going to look like if he's, from his point of view, that is, if he's sat in our B team? So I kind of feel like that's the starting point for him to come in as a so-called academy player. But I'll be honest with you, I think, again, I know nothing, but my hunch is that actually there's a pathway for him to get into the first team and at least be featured on the bench, more so if Hudson-Odoi is still carrying something, and actually maybe force his way in. He's 19 years old, Raf, I think. You want to come in on that?
And although he's come from Man City's academy, he's a Port Vale player, and he was there until he was 17. He was bought at 17 and put into the Man City academy. He was taken to the World Club Cup as that 17-year-old with Man City. I don't think he played there, though. And then he got loaned out to PSV. The PSV B team loan didn't actually go particularly well, of which is why we've got a £4 million option to buy him afterwards, because, again, he's got no progression at Man City. If you look at what's ahead of him, I don't see him ever getting into a team. McAtee can't even really get any time. So how is he? So to that end, that's why he's actually perfect for us. Our entire front line are people that had a career stall at some stage, and they came to us to reignite their career. We are basically a front line of, I'm not going to say misfits, but people with second chances that Marinakis and Nuno are given second chances to, and he fits that bill. But I wouldn't expect too much from him because he hasn't actually spent that much time inside the Man City academy itself, but his raw talent is amazing. He basically looks like Callum Hudson-Odoi pre-injury when he was at Chelsea, of what he offers, and that is hugely exciting. But he's very, very rough and will need time before he sees first team football, I reckon.
Excellent. Okay, right. Going to move ourselves on a little bit because there's a few things I want to quickly talk about. Just going to flash these up. Following the superb result against Brighton, I mean, it was great to see 5 Nottingham Forest players in the Premier League team of the week. I think this is the Who Scored one, I think, or something like that. With Sales and Gibbs White and Nico Williams and Alanga and Chris Wood. You've all seen it. You don't need me to go through it, but you've all seen it. A great achievement to get so many players in that team of the week. But even the Europe's top 5 leagues team that's also on the screen for those that can see it, with Gibbs White, Williams, Alanga and Chris Wood. So 4 players. And that's the top 5 leagues across Europe. Again, just goes to show how well we played against Brighton. 7-0 speaks for itself, but the actual stats also speak for themselves as well. So I wanted to also move us on to talking about Chris Wood quickly. We know that he's overperforming his XG massively, and there's various charts and stats and all the rest of it doing the rounds that I'm sure everyone listening and watching has seen for themselves on Twitter and social media about his conversion rate and how well he's doing. I know that the guys here at Talking Reds have been putting together different charts to show how Chris Wood features against all the others lot. So I'm expecting Raf and Dan between them to probably start posting them out post show, so for you guys to have a look at. Yeah, it's just interesting again to kind of see how we're defying all the odds. We are doing the Exeter preview, but before we get into that, the team is still in Dubai, and it looks like it's been a bit of a success, Richard, from my point of view, from what I can see, with just the general jolliness that's going on around the camp. And, you know, one player that we've spoken about a lot is Anthony Alanga, and his performance against Brighton was scintillating. I think it's possibly his best performance in the Forest shirt without scoring a goal. And he put the cry out on social media, didn't he? Because he wants a song. He wants a song. So this is what happened.
Hey, actually, I just spoke to H about this. Yeah, Forest fans, someone sent me a video singing. Give me away, speakers, wrong someone, and the Forest fans sing. Someone needs to. Give me away, up from Sweden. He runs along the track, he makes the Forest fans sing. Give me a winner from Sweden. Anthony Alanga is our Swedish king. Give me
the Garibaldi Bard answered the call as ever to come up with a brilliant rendition of ABBA's Gimme Gimme Gimme, and Anthony Langer has his song, so I'm hoping all you Forest fans will have that singing from the stands next time he's playing. But just quickly on Dubai, Richard, before we move on, I'll come to you just on this. Do you think that this team spirit that we've spoken about, do you think this Dubai mini break is going to effectively set them up for the rest of the season?
I think the leadership of our club, and including the coaching staff, are pushing the right buttons because, you know, it's evidenced from the first preseason videos you were seeing to the Dubai video. There's a lot of like comparisons, and they mirror one another in terms of just the kind of camaraderie, the kind of connections these guys have with each other. I mean, you see all of them at dinner just having a good time, enjoying this process, and recognizing that they've got something special in terms of what they've established as a culture, as a unit. And so, yeah, that just continues to be the case. I mean, the varying edits that All I Know was putting out were just absolutely incredible, man. I mean, it was just amazing. And he continues to think, I love that he keeps dropping those kinds of things, because I think he's illustrating to the everyone around him, like, there's a chemistry with this team that's just unparalleled. And I don't know if there's similar things going on with other teams. Maybe there is. I'm not certainly keeping track of it because those aren't my teams. But it definitely seems like there seems to be a concerted effort for All I Know, because he just loves his social media, right, as he pointed out in Sport Bible. But yeah, it's in the video and the interview that Anthony Langa did as well, I think, in the training area, talking about how much he loves playing for Forest and just the way that things have developed for him. I mean, good gracious. I mean, he's taken such a leap, I think, especially in terms of his distribution, as we've seen with how he gets assists with Chris Wood, right? And the stats we've all isolated. So nothing but good things. Yeah, it's just adding a little bit of fuel to keep things going for the remainder of the season. I don't see it changing. And you saw how quickly we flipped a switch from being completely off, I think, in a lot of ways, mentally, physically, etc., in the Bournemouth match, to like the opposite end of the spectrum, and we did it within a week. And so, to me, and maybe that's just one isolated moment, but it's just it's evidence to me that their mental fortitude and their capacity to reassess and reignite things is pretty obvious.
And with the gap between the Brighton game and the next Premier League game, it is a full 2 weeks.
A lot of rest.
Which, you know, and the fact that we've got Exeter on Tuesday means that we will play a second 11. I'm absolutely certain of that, the same way we did against Luton. So our first team starters, Premier League starters, are going to get extra rest. And so this really has become a proper mid-season break. And I think the Dubai camp looks fantastic. The meal that they had last night that Ola shared, you know, the Brazilian lads were doing their Brazilian dancing, and, you know, it just looks so good to see. And we'll talk about the Exeter game now, but bearing in mind personnel and so on. So I'll put the foot mob on the screen in just a moment. Raf, you wanted to come in.
One quick point, what I was loving from those videos, which I saw, and there was one from earlier in the day where, of course, it had to be Ola who was doing the high dive and everyone watching on and egging him on. Yeah. But in that video and in the supper video, Taiwo was involved in all of it, and he was sat next to Ola, even though Ola was taking the piss out of him for his pink drink. But other than that, Taiwo's kind of in the inner circle of Ola's japes at the moment, which I hadn't seen before quite a lot. And I think this is actually weirdly quite important, of getting him really vibed and everything, to get even that inner confidence going off the pitch, to get the confidence going on the pitch. And I think that might be a game changer for us.
Yeah, you could well be right. So, Raf, I'll stay with you. We're talking about formation.
Yeah.
What are you expecting to see on Tuesday against Exeter in terms of personnel? 11 changes?
Not quite 11, but if I work this backwards and go who I think is 100% going to start. So Taiwo up front. I'm going to put something on the screen for you in just a second. Okay, I've worked it out. But you carry on. Carry on. Right. So I reckon we'll have Taiwo up front. He needs the minutes. And then you'll have Sosa and Jota either side. Now, depending on the formation, if we have 3 at the back or 2 at the back, they're either 2 10s behind, or they're wingers with someone going in the 10 slot. Then we look at Miguel should be in goal. think definitely. And I think you've got Morato and you've got Bolly starting as centre backs. You might or might not, because I don't think Abbott's fit, have Toffolo third back or not. But I would be very surprised again if Moreno is not starting as the left back. And I would hope Moriera, I really want to see more in that kid. I really hope he's starting at right back. So that's your back four plus the keeper. Maybe Toffolo comes in, which then means either we need a 10 or we don't need a 10, and you've got two in midfield. That is the area of debate, as far as I'm concerned, as who starts. And you could say, do you know what? Yates hasn't started the game in a little while. He should, and he should lead the team out as well. Dominguez always seems to miss out. Would he get one? We could say Sangare really needs minutes, so this is an opportunity for him. Danilo started last game, but I'm not a fitness expert. Should he be playing more minutes? And because he hasn't played in a long time, to get him up to speed ahead of these games, should he get minutes? Should he start? Should he come on? So I really hope Anderson is rested. I think he really could do with the rest, actually, and fully reset amongst these games. But then it's probably 2 or 3 from those 4 players. And if Toffolo doesn't play, I think he'll probably play a back 5 to play Toffolo to ease that problem. But you might see Danilo playing in the 10 if we have to have a 10.
Yeah, I mean, as you've been talking, I mean, those that can see the screen, I've got the back 3 lined up with Toffolo, Bolly and Morato, and then a Moreno, Yates, Sangare, De Silva, Moreira, as a kind of a 4-man midfield with Silva, a Wanyi and Sosa as a front 3. Dan, I mean, again, we're in the realms of guessing, but it's going to be something like that, isn't it? Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think if Exeter beat us, it will be a literal giant killing. If we've got Carlos Miguel, Big Willie Bolly, Taiwo Wanyi, Sangare, all in that team, there is going to be the giant reserve team comes in and does the job. I think for us, I think a massive game for Taiwo in terms of just being able to really, just get some goals, a couple of goals potentially in this game that will just quieten down some of the doubt about him. And I think the rest of it is probably like that. I mean, it's just midfield, isn't it? I think Yates is a guaranteed start because he didn't play against Brighton. So then it's just, is it Danilo? Probably in my mind, it probably is Danilo to start with for 45 minutes, and then Sangare for 45 minutes maybe in the second half. I would think, just because he's come in and played against Brighton, so you'd think he's capable of coming and doing 45 minutes in this game, and that'll just continue to build his fitness. And yeah, other than that, that's probably it. I don't know with Zach Abbott. I'd like to see him. It looks like he played a under 21 game on the 24th of January, not that long ago, but I don't know if he's got injured since then. But it'd be good to see him as an opportunity in this game as well, as another option at the back. But yeah, it's just a chance for all of these players to show us what they can do. And I think given how professional we are and how we set up, I think we'll get the job done with that team.
Richard, coming to you quickly then on this. I mean, is there a case where it starts like this with a complete change, but because we want to try and get some minutes back into legs, that we perhaps do see a Morgan Gibbs-White or an Anderson or someone like that, and a Langer coming on with 15 minutes to go, just to kind of get some minutes back into legs? Or would you just say, look, you know what, give them the whole time off and let's just wrap them up in cotton wool until Fulham?
I mean, I tend to go with the latter, just for the purposes of what we need future state. But at the same time, I could see the value of potentially these guys who don't get to start often and don't get a lot of minutes logged on the pitch, in live game action. It probably is going to be a bit, especially with those like Sangare, like was mentioned, and maybe even Danilo. I mean, I could make the case you might go 4-2-3-1 and try to potentially put Danilo in the 10. Get him match fit, because he definitely looked like he was getting a bit leggy and getting a bit fatigued in the second half of the match against Brighton. So there may be a case to try to switch things up and go that route. But Taiwo up top, Sosa on the left, Jota on the right. Even though I know we're not a huge fan of Jota in the wing position, sometimes he tends to like to float and drift. So you've got Wanyi in the 9. Sosa on the left, Danilo in the 10, replacing Gibbs White, Jota Silva on the right, Yates and Sangare. And then you've got back four of Moreno, Murado, Bali, and De Silva Moreira. I think that's where my mind went in terms of personnel and formation. And I think Raph, maybe you sent something out like that to me, potentially similar to that. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of like the look of that. Go ahead. Sorry, Dan.
Just on Danilo in the 10, do you not think that's an injury risk position in terms of
it could be because he's having to attack more?
Yeah, I wouldn't play
yeah, that's my only thought. That one.
Just the creativity is where my mind was at in terms of his ability to kind of generate some creativity from that role, but he can do the same thing from a deeper position. So, but
it's an interesting one, guys, because there was some really, really. I think Emma, who I chat to on, I'm just going to call it Twitter. I used to call it X, and some others as well noticed in the Brighton game. He was not pulling out of tackles, but not going for tackles because evidently, as you would as a normal human being, have massive fear coming back from an injury that horrendous. So I do think we need to, but again, it's two sides of the coin. Is Exeter going to be a rough and ready game that actually there's no point risking Danilo in because it's going to be that type of attritional game and it's just not worth it? And it might make his fear worse rather than better. Or is it a game where you can put him in and help alleviate that fear ahead of Fulham? I don't know because I'm not a sports psychologist. I'm not a lot of things actually in sport, and I'm not a sports psychologist either.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not sure that Danilo will
there
play.
We go. Medical Anna is giving us guidance, which I love. There you go.
Anna says, I wouldn't play Danilo in this game. Potentially to be quite physical. I'd start Sangare, more physically robust. Time's moving on, and we do have one particular slide, so we will do this.
I'm a Statman. Fazendo som, Pedrinha Moraes fazendo som, e Pedrinha Moraes fazendo som.
Dan wanted to pay respects to Exeter and give them their dues and show us this. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I'm not sure it deserves the intro with just one thing to present this week.
Well, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
We'll go for it anyway. I just looked at their players just so we knew their names a little bit because I'll be honest, I've not really heard of many of their players. They have got Mustafa Carriol on the books, I believe, who used to be at Forest, who's now 36 and doesn't play very often for him. So he's not living it up at 36 in League One. But yeah, they've got a player called Milanic Ali, who is their top goal scorer. I think he's got 9 goals in like 19 starts. So he stands out on the right of this chart in terms of their goal threat. So his name might pop up a little bit. In terms of other goal threats, Kamari Doyle is down there, but not quite as successful as Ali. And then on the assist side of it, in terms of creating chances, there's a guy called Ed Francis, who, again, not a player I know anything about. Can't tell you whether any of these players have got touch of a rhino, touch of a giraffe, touch of a koala bear. No idea. Some of them might be of a high quality or not. But it was just to show the names that might pop up. So Ed Francis, Vincent Harper's obviously involved in creating some of their goals, and that's it really. That was the one slide just to mention some of their names in case the commentators mention them on the day.
Well, it's a televised game, which is nice. I think it's going to be on ITV, the main channel as well. We go to St James Park, that's Exeter's ground, with confidence. It will be a scalp if they beat us. I don't see that happening. They're doing quite poorly in League One as well. I mean, they have lost a load of games in a row. And I think they beat Oxford in round 3, and that was, a bit of a scalp. And Oxford aren't that big a side as well. So I absolutely see us taking care of Exeter and progressing into round 5. I'd love us to have a bit of a cup run alongside our Premier League exploits. It would be the irony of ironies that we haven't played in Europe for God knows how long. And in the same season, we win the FA Cup to get into the Europa League, and we get top 4 to get in the Champions League and qualify for Europe twice in one season, which would be the irony of ironies. But hey, we haven't qualified for anything yet. So fingers crossed that Tuesday is indeed the kind of game that I expect it to be, and we come away with something like a 3-0 win. I'm not going to do score predictions because again, I just think we're all going to predict us to win. It could be 1-0, could be 5-0. So let's have a quick break.
The Cheese Trader, based on Grape Lane in York, is a cheese lover's paradise. Home to some wonderful specialty cheeses, relishes and chutneys, and also with a fantastic street food menu. Try their loaded fries or posh cheese on toast. It'll be the best you've ever had. Owned by Forest fan Stu Freestone, the Cheese Trader proudly sponsors Talking Reds. Quote Talking Reds every time to get 10% off your order. The Cheese Trader and Talking Reds, the perfect cheesy mix.
So hungry.
The perfect cheesy mix. Yeah, it's coming up towards 1 o'clock. We're entering into the second half of this episode. And it's time for this.
They tried to put me on the cover of Vogue, but my legs were too long.
Sergio is on a trip, and so he sent us another snapshot. Regular watcher to Talking Reds, big fan of the show. Sergio's legs are on screen. Now, we know he's in America. We know that the last stop he was in Vegas. Danscape, any idea where Sergio is now with those legs?
I was assuming Skegness, but you've said it's America, so what could it possibly be? He was in Vegas. I don't know.
Any idea?
Venice Beach. Venice Beach.
I'm not quite sure if it's that. Any ideas, Richard?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it's California, that's for sure. But Raf's in the right vicinity, southern SoCal for sure. Yeah, at first I looked at it, and I thought it was Great Yarmouth, but
it does look a bit
right.
Has he gone down to Exeter?
It looks like he's gone to Exeter early. Sergio,
he's become such a Forest fan. He's
he is a big Forest fan now. I know he is. Sergio is in the Pacific Coast, Los Angeles. There we go. So thank you very much, Sergio, for sending over your legs this time.
They tried to put me on the cover of Vogue, but my legs were too long.
Okay, it's quiz time.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
There we go. Right. So I put together a quiz for the boys. Not quite sure how this is going to go, but we'll try. So we're going to go. We've got a few rounds. So I'm going to come to you one at a time. And so if you can give me the answer straight away, and you're not allowed to jump in, guys, so be quiet, let the person answer. If you can give the answer straight away, that's going to be worth 10 points to you. If you need multiple choice, then automatically your chance to earn points is reduced. And if you get it right with the multiple choice, it's worth 5. So 10 points if you know it without choices, and 5 points if you need the multiple choice. I'm not sure if these are going to be considered easy or hard. Some are very easy. Some you'll know quite quickly. So, Richard, I'm coming to you first. So, here is your first question. Richard, in which year was Nottingham Forest Football Club founded?
1865.
1865 is the right answer, Richard.
That was definitely easy. Thank you.
10 points. Raf, coming to you next. So, who was Nottingham Forest's opponent in their first European Cup final victory in 1979?
Oh my God, mind blank. Malmo.
Malmo is correct. 10 points. I know it's when you're on the spot, it's a difficult thing, isn't it? Okay, Dan, coming to you now.
You've got to doubt yourself. Like, it is, isn't it?
You do doubt yourself. Yeah. Which Nottingham Forest player scored the winning goal in the 1980 European Cup final?
Trevor Francis.
That is
wrong. It was in the 1980 European Cup final. Yeah. It was John Robertson.
Bravo.
No points, I'm afraid. Right, round 2.
I love the fact that you kind of just went 1980 really quickly. Like,
I mean, I could have said it again. I could have. Richard, who did Morgan Gibbs White score his first Forest goal against?
I can see the goal in my head.
You can don't forget you can ask for some multiple choice if you want to.
Well, that's terrible that I have to ask for that of all players.
You want to go multiple choice?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so you're only going to get 5 points available now. Was it either Sheffield United, Burnley, Brentford, or Leicester?
Brentford.
That is correct.
That is correct. So 5 points there for Richard. Hey, Raf, Ola Aina. See, I'm coming to you on your Ola Aina. Yeah. So this is a bit tricky. I would say this. Give you time in this. Ola Aina has scored 3 Nottingham Forest goals, but what is the correct combination in terms of how they were scored? So was it one header, one right foot, one left foot, etc.? So visualize the goals. What is the correct combination in terms of how they were scored? It's only 3. I can give you multiple choice if you need them. He's thinking.
Okay. Just to be safe, give me some multiple choice because it's quite tricky.
Were they all left foot?
I know, but
were they all right foot? 2 right foot, 1 left foot, or 2 left foot, 1 right foot? All left foot, all right foot, 2 right foot, 1 left foot, or 2 left foot, 1 right foot? There's a song in there somewhere.
1 left, 2 right.
It was 2 right foot.
That is correct, shorty.
1 left foot, 2 right foot, 1 left foot. So 5 points there. So, Dan, Willy Bolly got sent off against Bournemouth in that game, Nuno's first game in charge. What minute was the red card shown?
Jesus, that's a
harsh.
Well, I've got multiple choice available.
Like payback. This is like payback moment.
Yeah, exactly. For Dan's
well, exactly. You know, I've been in one of Dan's quizzes, so I'm expecting him to know these things. You know,
if I guess wrong, I can't have the multiple choice after, can I?
Correct, you can't. So you need to.
To be honest, I'm not sure the multiple choice is going to help. So just give it me because either way, it's a guess.
Multiple choice was it the 23rd minute, 24th minute, the 25th minute, or the 26th minute?
Oh, it's so harsh.
That doesn't help in any way. So I'm going to say
so harsh.
I'm going to say it was 23rd. Was that the first? I'm going to go 23rd.
Correct. Well done. See, it wasn't that hard, was it?
As possible.
5 points there for Dan. Right, round 3. We're going into round 3. It might be getting a little bit harder. Richard, coming to you now. Who did Nottingham Forest play when Chris Wood scored his first away goal for the club? So, against who were Forest playing when he scored his first away goal in the Premier League for the club?
It feels like Newcastle's the obvious answer, but I'm going to go multiple choice because
you're going to go multiple choice.
Yeah.
You sure? Okay.
Newcastle.
Multiple choice.
Newcastle. I'm just going to answer.
You're answering Newcastle. You're answering Newcastle.
That is correct, shorty.
Well done. You went with your gut. You went with your gut. You went with your gut. Well done. Raf.
Yeah.
Who was Taiwo Awoniyi's last Forest goal against prior to this season when he scored against Wolves? So
prior to Wolves.
Prior to Wolves, who was his last goal against? So we're talking last season, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maltese, please.
Oh, Maltese. Was it Chelsea? Was it Man United? Was it West Ham? Or was it Crystal Palace?
Chelsea.
Oh, he's gone with Chelsea. He's gone with Chelsea. It was West Ham.
I thought the same thing.
It was West Ham. It was West Ham. Danscape. Who did Ryan Yates make his Premier League debut for Forest against? So, Ryan Yates, who did he make his Premier League debut for Nottingham Forest against? The multiple choices there if you need it.
I'm going to go Everton away.
Everton away?
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Dan pulls one out of the fire and gets himself back in the game. Okay, we're going to go to round 4. We're doing well for time. So this is where we go back a little bit further in time, and you might need some multiple choices for this. You might not. So Richard, who was Nottingham Forest's first ever manager?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go multiple choice.
Multiple choice. Is the answer Harry Radford, Frank Heaven, William H. Revis, or Arthur Capes?
Gold.
I'll give them again. It's Harry Radford, Frank Heaven, William H. Revis, or Arthur Capes.
I'm just going to say Harry Radford.
Correct.
Correct. Harry Radford it was. 5 points there for Richard.
Wow.
Full knowledge there. Full knowledge.
Very good. Raph.
Yeah.
Who holds the record for the most appearances for Nottingham Forest? Who holds the record for the most appearances for Nottingham Forest? And all the people watching along, you know, I hope you're enjoying as well and you're playing along. I've got multiple choices. Is that your final answer?
I'm going to go for it.
Wrong answer, forehead.
Chettle? Is it Chettle?
No, it's
Not
Bob
quite.
McKinley with 692 appearances.
Holy crap. All right.
The multiple choice was there, so Raf doesn't score. Dan, coming to you now.
Mhm.
Who is Forest's all-time top goal scorer? Who is Nottingham Forest all-time top goal scorer?
Oh, there's a big smile on Richard's face.
Yeah, I want to hear your little music, so I'm going to delay this that you're doing there. I'm going to have multiple choice, please.
Okay, so Forest top goal scorer, was it Nigel Clough, Wally Arden, Grenville Morris, or Johnny Dent?
It's definitely someone we haven't heard of.
It's one of those, obviously. Was it Nigel Clough, Wally Arden, Grenville Morris, or Johnny Dent?
I'm going to go Grenville Morris. Like Clough is the one I would have guessed at, but I'm going to go with that.
That is correct.
That is correct. 5 points for Dan. Thank you, Lord Vader. All right, we do have a fifth round. Okay, we're moving on. We're doing quite nicely. This seems to be going down quite nicely so far. Ricardo. So, again, I think these ones, you'll know these ones, but what was the score when Forest beat Derby to win the FA Cup in 1898? What was the score? Yeah, I know. I was there. It was a great game. What was the score when Forest beat Derby to win the FA Cup in 1898?
The grey beard. It's the grey beard.
We have multiple choice.
I think I've got some points in hand, so I'm just going to guess here to try to get 10. I'm going to go 3-0.
Wrong answer, forehead.
Thank you.
It was, in fact, 3-1.
Oh,
it was 3-1. It wasn't 3, it was 3-1. Raf, coming to you now. So, this might be who did Forest beat in the semi-final to reach the 1980 European Cup final? So the 1980, that's the second one. Who do they beat to reach the final in the semi? Multiple choice.
Literally born kind of at this moment.
There you go. You should know. Gonna have to push you for an answer.
Liverpool.
It wasn't Liverpool, no. Liverpool in the semi-final. Goodness me.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
God,
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
You just set that question up just to get for him to get it wrong, so you could do that.
I had it on standby just in case. No, it was. Anyone want to? No bonus points available, but it was anyone? Bueller. It was Ajax.
Oh gosh,
Ajax.
Dan, I'm coming to you for an equally tricky one potentially.
Yeah.
In the 1979 season, when we won it the first time, Forest won against who in the semi-final?
Give me them multiple choices.
Oh,
Was it Ajax, FC Köln, Dynamo Berlin, or Liverpool? Was it Ajax? Was it Cologne? Was it Berlin, Dynamo Berlin, or was it Liverpool?
And
In the
go Liverpool then. I'm gonna have to reveal my terrible knowledge of anything pre-1994.
thanks.
Oh my word!
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Terrible. I was
Wasn't
thinking
it
it's
Cologne?
not Liverpool.
We won't do the whole
Raf
speech.
saying it.
No,
Wasn't
it was Cologne. It was Cologne.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That was my first thought, but then I was like,
Yeah, no points. We only played Liverpool.
I put you off, Dan. I put you off.
did.
by Liverpool.
We famously played Liverpool in the first campaign when the players were so excited to be in the European Cup and get hopefully drawn away to some exotic location and drew bloody Liverpool, and they were feeling quite disheartened. But they
we
went on
played
to
him
win
at
it.
some point in one of them.
Yeah. So
I remember Cologne. So I remember the pitch was horrendous. And
right, so here we come with some other tricky ones now, and these are ones you're going to probably either guess at or you're going to need multiple choice. But it's round 6, and when pushing it along, Richard, in the 1980 European Cup final. So we're back in time again. Which minute did John Robertson score the winning goal? So the winning goal, it was 1-0. Robertson scored 1980. Picture it. Birtles manages to scuff it over to him. It's a right-footed shot from outside the area. What was the minute?
I thought Trevor Francis scored that goal.
I'm just gonna go to multiple choice. I think I know the answer, but I want to.
Want a multiple choice?
Is this going to be a generous multiple choice? She's going to bang them all next to each other.
Was it? Do you want multiple choice? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the 20th minute, the 42nd minute, the 57th minute, or the 67th minute?
Okay.
I think it's the 67th minute, and I thought it was later.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Wrong. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Thank you,
We
Donald.
got so bad.
It was the 20th minute. It was an early goal. They clung on for the rest of it. Rap, I'm coming to you now. So going back a year, the 1979 final. What minute was it that Trevor Francis scored that famous header and landed in the shot put ring that we all know about? What minute was it?
Multi-choice, please.
Was it the 42nd minute, 43rd minute, the 44th minute, or the 45th minute?
Are you doing this on purpose?
Oh, it's one of them. It's if you don't know, you got 1 in 4 chance, no matter what I give you. It's either bang
44.
on a half time or just before
44.
half time.
44th.
44.
Wrong answer, forehead.
It was the 45th minute. In fact, it was going into added time. So it was the 45th minute, bang on a stroke of half time. Okay, Dan, something similar for you. In the 1980 Super Cup second leg, Forest won it 2-1 on aggregate. And Kenny Burns scored a goal in the new camp to make it 1-1 to win the tie overall. Which minute was the Kenny Burns goal in the new camp against Barcelona?
Go on, give me those multiple choice.
Was it the 40th minute? Was it the 41st minute?
Oh,
was it the
God.
42nd minute? Or was it the 43rd minute?
I think Kenny Burns, no nonsense. So we'll go for a round number 40.
Wrong. Wrong. Wrong.
It was the 42nd minute.
Ah.
Okay, right. So that brings us to the end of the rounds. And now I've got a few questions on quick fire. Okay. So you got to be whoever's the first to speak, whoever I hear it from first gets the points. And there's 10 points available for each correct answer. And so we're going to start like this. Listen carefully. When Forest played Hamburg in the 1980 European Cup final, the entire Hamburg team was made up of German players, except one. Who was that non-German player?
Kevin Keegan.
Correct, for 10 points, Dan. Next question. Who scored the first ever goal for Forest in the Premier League era?
Oh, Sheringham.
Raph, correct, for 10 points. Next question.
Televised.
Who did Forest defeat in the 1978 Charity Shield final?
Manu.
You're out, that Raf.
Liverpool.
You're out.
No.
Raf, Richard, you get one go. One go at it. I'll give
Leeds.
you Leeds. No score, guys. It was Ipswich Town. Okay, here we go. Next question. What was the score when Forest lost the 1980 League Cup final to Wolves?
2-1.
Wrong. You're out.
1-0.
Richard. Ding, 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 ding. Correct. 10 points, Richard. What's 1-0? Next question. Which present-day Scottish football pundit scored the goal for Wolves that day?
No.
Adam Coyce.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
No. Dan said that, not me.
I stopped. Alan Brazil?
Wasn't Alan Brazil? You both out. Richard, you get a shot at this.
He's in the naughty house at the moment, big time.
Yeah.
He's been in the naughty house for a while, actually. But there we go.
Oh, it's that other guy, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
No, time's up. It was
Wrong answer, forehead.
Andy Gray. Andy Gray.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions. Two or three left. Who scored the goal as Forest beat Oldham to win the 1990 League Cup? It was 1-0 to Forest. You're out. It wasn't Nigel Clough.
Roy?
It wasn't Roy. 1990, no.
Oh, I've got my timings all wrong.
Your time's wrong. I was there. It was a great goal. Well, it was kind of a lucky goal, but we won. Dan, you got a free shot at it.
Just repeat the question, please. Sorry.
Who scored the goal as Forest beat Oldham 1-0 to win the 1990 League Cup, which was then the Little Woods Cup?
Stuart Pearce?
It was Nigel Jemson. Three to go. Who was Nottingham Forest's manager immediately before Brian Clough took charge in 1975? I thought everyone knew this.
Oh, it's easy sitting where you're sitting, isn't it?
Well, I just I only wrote questions I knew. So, well, I did look up a few bits. Running out of time, guys. We're running out of time. Anyone?
As soon as you say it, I'll know it.
Alan Brown. Oh, no. A famous Forest manager.
I was going to say James Smith.
This is one you might not know, but you might know it if you think about it. How many Premier League goals has Chris Wood scored for Forest?
25.
Wrong, you're out.
27.
Yeah, wrong, you are out.
Oh, God. No.
Oh, I'm torn now whether to go in between you guys or go above.
Well, you must know how many he scored this season, last season, and the season before.
I forgot the half the season before.
28.
Wrong. The correct answer is 32. 32. Yeah. 1 plus 14 plus 17.
Yeah.
And then, just for fun, how many Premier League goals does Chris Wood have in total? So in total,
87.
87. Richard, you are out, but that was a great
he's got at least 60 at Burnley because he scored over at least 10 goals for 6 seasons for them. So that's 60 plus the 32, which gets you to 92 at a minimum. Then did he score at Newcastle?
I don't need to work it out.
No, not 103. Because we would have heard if he'd got 100 Premier League goals. So it's like 98.
93.
Wrong. 86. He's not quite there yet.
It's one off.
He scored 10 goals for 6 seasons at Burnley. So that's got to be 60 goals.
Yeah, but they weren't always in the Premier League, right?
Oh,
no. There we go.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
And there we go. That's the end of our Forest quiz today. Now I've got to try and go back and remember. I've got it all written down. So I'm going to go and add these scores up, and then we'll have a champion. And whilst I'll do that, I wanted just to kind of introduce this slide because look, Forest are sitting 10th in I think all the top leagues in terms of their form and how they're doing. So Richard, I'll let you pick this up because you added this slide. I mean, how impressive is it? I mean, with all these slides we're showing of how well Forest are doing, does this hold us in good stead for Champions League football next season?
Yeah, I definitely think it does, and it's just such a great slide to show the stark difference. I mean, we're already seeing the stark difference in terms of our points accumulation last year when we buried that, and that's without even the 36 points that we accumulated without the points deduction. But it's just remarkable where we sit at this given moment, and this to me it was just such a visceral sort of evidence to that. It's incredible. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to happen. We all agree it's probably going to happen, and hopefully we look like we're in good company, so we can hopefully match them, these types of teams.
Dan, do you think that there's a danger that Forest might be going into the Champions League if we get there just way too early and we're going to get overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a good question. My stats brain is jumping out on this slide, though, that we've played 24 games and a lot of teams on there have only played like 20 or 22. So there might be a team below us that'll sneak up on us in those other leagues. That's the only thing that gets me sometimes with these charts. Do
you think, though, it's the competitiveness top to bottom, though? I mean, from the top 15 teams in the Premier League compared to like La Liga or...
Yeah. No, look, we know. Well, I mean, look, we know we're third in the Premier League, which is just incredible, regardless of how we sit everywhere else. And is the Champions League a little bit early for us? No, I'm going to say no, as long as we are sensible with what we do with the kind of the benefits of being in the Champions League. So as long as we don't suddenly believe we are an established Champions League team that's going to go out and spend all the money every year and always be in that position, then I think it's a brilliant thing for us to have that boost, to have, the extra revenue from commercial stuff as well as the prize money. All of that will just help us eventually establish ourselves as that kind of top four side. But I think initially we've just got to work it on the basis that it's a one-off nice to have for this short period of time and be sensible. And I think we can still, do all right in the competition that way.
Yeah, I think the new format benefits us, if I'm going to say, because you get more games and there's a lot more that are average. I think the thing that really gives me hope is you look at Villa and they finished in the top 8 bracket, right? And that's Villa, and we've seen what they're about this season. And why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? So yeah. I think, and they've got top 8. We just need, there's a whole 16 places below there that are playoffs that we could even get into and still progress to the last 16. So I think we should have more confidence in what Nuno's building, and it's the strength of the Premier League to show the fact that if we get there, we've got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's with us. He says, well, an FA Cup run would be nice. He says, I want to see us concentrate and finishing as high up the league as possible. I see that as well. I want to be greedy. I'd love a cup run because I'm old school and I'm from that generation when the FA Cup was everything. And I think if you can show something for your season, I mean, look, getting into Europe for us is showing something for our season without a shadow of a doubt. But, we're third in the Premier League. At the moment, we're one of the top teams in the country. So, we are holding our own in the Premier League and some. And so anyone would be worried about playing Forest, no matter who it is. There's no reason why we can't go deep in the competition. And a trip to Wembley and a win in the FA Cup and getting the Champions League, I mean, it'd be amazing. We're out of time, guys. I've got enough time to give you the scores on the doors from Greg's quiz. So let's have a look and see. I mean, you guys did really well. And I wasn't quite sure if some of those questions were easy or not, but you got into the spirit of it and it went quite well. So in third place with 25 points is Ref the Random Pundit. In second place with 30 points is the Statman Danscape, which means that our winner is, of course, Richard Spray with 40 points. Yeah. Well done to you. Well, I mean, very not quite sure I'll go as much as that, but there we go. Very good. Well done. And thank you for all of you guys in the comments as well for enjoying that by looks things as well. That's enough from us for today. We are out of time. Keep an eye out for the latest shenanigans from the likes of Ola Aina and the videos that I'm sure that he'll be posting. The team are coming back, I think, some point this weekend, I'm sure, to get ready for the Exeter trip. If you're going down to Exeter on that Tuesday night, we salute you. Travel safely. But we'll catch you next time. We'll come back and do a bit of a chat after the Exeter game next week. Keep your eye out for the one with the Warriors United as well. And we'll have more one-withs coming your way very soon. Thank you very much, Danscape. Thank you very much, Raf. Great to have you guys with us. Richard Spray, I'm going to give you quick final words before we go.
No, pleasure as always to share the airwaves with these guys. And that quiz was definitely rigged. I'm convinced that it was an inside job there, but that's okay.
Well,
I won't win another one. I'm pretty confident of that.
Technically, I think you would have, if you'd have stuck with your original answers in my quiz, you'd have won that one as well. I think. Like you changed a couple of your answers at the last second that cost you. So
yeah,
you're the quiz master.
Every dog has his day, right? So thank you.
Well, I should say also as well, in a couple of weeks' time, myself and Paul Morley are going to be featured on TalkSport. We are going to represent Nottingham Forest in the TalkSport Cup. We have been invited. We got entered and we have been invited. So Paul and I'm not quite sure how it's going to work yet, but on 21st of February, we're going down. I don't know if it's going out live. I don't know if it's going out recorded. I don't know how it works yet, but we're going down to represent Nottingham Forest in the TalkSport Cup. So I'll give you more news on that as we get it. So looking forward to that. This is Talking Reds. See you soon.
Come join Greg and Richard right here on Talking Red.